This video demonstrates how to conduct a thorough inspection of a shipping container prior to loading your products. In the video, we'll be inspecting an ocean container, but the same procedure can also be used for truck trailers and box trucks. Before we begin, let's review some basic information about shipping containers. The corrugated wall panels, frame, cargo doors, and cross members of metal shipping containers are all made from Corten steel. Most shipping containers come with marine-grade plywood flooring, which is supported by cross members. Corner castings have openings for twist-lock connections that allow them to be connected to other containers or to anchor points. The fixed anchor points are located on vessels, trailer chassis, or rail cars. Standard 20-foot containers and many 40-foot containers come with openings along the bottom edge on all sides of the structures called forklift pockets. CSC is an acronym used to indicate the International Convention for Safe Containers, a set of standards for shipping container design intended to prevent structural failure and protect human life. Each container has a CSC plate that shows the date and year of manufacturing, the maximum operating gross mass, and the container's next inspection date. To conduct a container inspection, we recommend using the FM Cargo Container Inspection Checklist. You can get a copy of this valuable tool from your local FM Cargo risk engineer or from the FM Resource Catalog. Conduct an external inspection prior to the container backing up to the loading bay. Start by verifying the container number, driver name, and company against transportation documents to minimize the risk of fraudulent pickups. While you do this, assess the tractor's overall condition. Any major deficiencies, such as low fuel, low tire tread, hydraulic leaks, etc., should be escalated to management. Gather the tools you'll need: a flashlight, a blunt object such as a hammer, and a tape measure. At this point, the trailer will be on a chassis, about 4 feet above the ground, so it may be challenging to get close to some of the higher components of the container. Therefore, consider also having a ladder on hand. Start by inspecting the container doors. Make sure the mechanism attached to the container is secure and reliable. Look for any different coloring in the bonding material on the hinges and corner castings, and whether any repairs have been conducted. Check for loose bolts on the hinges and locking mechanisms, and check the door gasket. After examining the doors, move to the exterior of the container. Examine the sides, looking for any indications of repairs to the structural beams and the walls. Check for any holes and dents on the walls. Check the vents to determine their condition and whether they are blocked. Here we see the vent is painted, which is not allowing proper air circulation into and out of the container. Next, move to the front of the container. Again, pay attention to the structural beams and wall. Look for indications of repairs, as well as holes and dents. Your container should have arrived on a trailer bed. Before you load any goods or walk into the container to conduct your light penetration test, get a closer look at the support beams. Make sure they are intact and visible. You may need your flashlight for this. Once you've done that, go inside. Perform a light penetration test to ensure there are no pinholes in the container. This involves entering the empty container and then closing the doors. You have to do this before the container has been backed up to the loading bay. Otherwise, you won't be able to close the doors. After a few minutes, once your eyes have adjusted, if there are any pinholes or the door gaskets are worn, you will be able to see light penetrating through. During the light penetration test, you should also check for any malodors within the container. After the light penetration test and smell test, open the container doors and have the driver back the trailer onto the loading bay. Move inside and check the inner wall. If you find indications of repair on the outside, locate where they are on the inside. Tap the sidewalls with your blunt object. Listen carefully for any hollow sounds. Check the vents to see if they are visible and not blocked. Now, repeat these steps for the inner front wall. Use your tape measure to determine if the width and length of the container is correct. It may be difficult to inspect the container's roof at your premises. Therefore, it's important to look carefully at the inner ceiling. Use your tape measure to determine whether the floor-to-ceiling height is consistent throughout. If the roof was previously damaged, it may dip, but this is difficult to detect with the human eye. So, walk around inside the container to get a personal feel of the space. If the inside is not uniform throughout, this may indicate the interior ceiling height is inconsistent. Make sure the floor is flat and level. Look out for any unusual repairs. Next, check for pests. Pests can spread very quickly within an ocean container. Visually inspect the outside and inside of any gaps and seams for visible contaminants such as plants, seeds, soil, egg masses, animals, dead or alive, and droppings. If contamination is found, reject the container. For temperature-controlled units, also known as reefer containers, inspect the housing and the set temperature. Establish whether that temperature is Fahrenheit or Celsius, as the difference in temperature may damage the products. Check that the T-bars in the container are not blocked, as this will restrict the airflow. Finally, check that the 4 drain plugs within the container are not blocked. Ensure the reefer container is at the required temperature prior to loading. If, during your inspection, you notice any defects, take photographs as evidence. Then inform the freight forwarder, carrier, and your client, as there may be a delay in the goods arriving at the delivery destination. It's better to have a sound, clean container on board the next vessel than a shipment arriving damaged, or worse, not at all. If the container is not up to standard, do not be afraid to reject it in its entirety. If your container passes inspection, you may proceed to loading your cargo. If your container is temperature controlled, there will typically be a usable height line located by the container doors. Do not exceed this line, as doing so will restrict the airflow within the container. Once the container is loaded, close the doors and apply the seal using the VVTT approach: view, verify, tug, and twist. A separate video is available that provides guidance on applying the seal. For more information on cargo, including containers, visit the FM Resource Catalog and the FM Cargo website. Thanks for watching.